Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into the Kristy Show. Today I have so much that I want to talk about in so little time, so I'm just going to get right into it, okay? Today I want to talk about forgiveness, controlling your emotions, and, pretty much stuff like that. Okay, first I want to start by saying that you should forgive everybody. No matter what anybody does to you, you should always forgive them. Not for them, but for yourself, okay? When people do something to you and you don't forgive them, they build strongholds in your life, okay? Whether you feel like it was your fault or whether it was their fault, if there's no forgiveness, there's always that strife that's going to be between people, and that's why forgiveness is the best thing. You can ask somebody to forgive you, and if they don't forgive you, that's fine. That's fine. That's their insecurities, okay? Weak people cannot forgive. It's a known fact. It's not my rule. It's everybody knows that. Weak people cannot forgive. So when you matter, they don't need to forgive you. As long as in your heart you ask for forgiveness, you are keeping your side of the fence clean. So you got to also understand too, sometimes people can't forgive. Sometimes people don't know how to forgive because they're so hurt inside by not forgiving everybody for what they've done to them, even through childhood, growing up. You got to let your past go, okay? You got to let your past go. A lot of people, like me, if I feel that I'm right or wrong, I will always, always, always apologize just to keep the strife out of my life. Because, whenever nobody's asking for forgiveness and nobody's saying sorry in any circumstance, it snowballs out of control. So why would I want my life to go in that direction? I would rather sit down and say, I'm so sorry, please forgive me for something that I didn't do, just so that I can live with freedom and I don't have to, that person's not going to control my emotions. Because believe it or not, when you don't forgive somebody, they control your emotions. When you, it's like this, hurt people hurt people. So if you're dealing in a kind of, asking somebody for forgiveness that's so hard on the outside, don't take it personal. They're like that with everybody. If you see somebody who is just mean to people for no reason, never have a smile on their face, every time they walk into a room, it's like they always have something to complain about, like stay away from those people, okay? Start filling your life with people who are actually doing better, who actually speak kindly of others. Remember, if somebody's going to gossip to you, they're going to gossip about you regardless. Forget those people. Just because you forget somebody doesn't mean that they should be allowed in your life. Sometimes people are not supposed to be in your life. And that even goes for family members. That goes for, people that you're with, relationships that you're in, even with friends. Sometimes people are so toxic in your life that your life becomes their life because they suck you into stuff. Me, I like to, I used to be like this. I used to be one of those people that people would do me dirty all the time, and I would sit there and try to ask for forgiveness or whatever, even when I thought it wasn't my fault, just because I felt like they had some kind of control over me, because until they forgave me, I wasn't allowed to forgive myself, or even if I didn't feel like it was my fault. So really, what I've learned over the past year of this growing that I've been doing and getting in touch with myself and learning who I am and learning my faults and stuff, I feel that the best thing that you could do is forgive somebody. Okay, say for instance this. Is anything that somebody does to you worth you never talking to them again? People make mistakes. People say that I act like I'm better than people. I don't act like that I'm better than people. I just know people. I know how they work. I don't allow myself to stoop down to people's level. I don't, and you know what? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I get so caught up in the moment that, stuff that I say I regret, but I apologize right away. I let myself go from all the burden that I had for that apology. People don't get it. And then, okay, sorry. I gotta get my notes. Oh my goodness, that's such a fool. Okay. Learn how to detach your feelings, okay? Just because somebody says something to you doesn't mean that you have to accept it. I have learned that if people come at me a certain way, I have to really evaluate what's going on in their life and their circumstances and why they are doing that to me. Because sometimes people are just so miserable within their self, they make everything else around them miserable, and they start unnecessary fights with people. And it's like, it's one thing when you call somebody out for them doing something stupid, but if they take no blame for what they've done to you and then they turn themselves into the victims, that is so ridiculous and so pathetic. You don't want those people in your life anyway, no matter who they are, how they're attached to you. You need to start thinking like how I started thinking. You know, my home is everything to me. Like, I don't worry about what's going on in other people's lives. You know, yes, I'm always here for people, always here for people. If you need to talk, I'm always going to be here regardless. That's just how I am. But, like, I don't worry about what's going on with such and such, or who in whose family, or who's doing who, or I don't worry about that. That has nothing to do with me. That's not going to put food on my table. That's not going to put clothes on my back. I worry about making sure that my husband has everything. I serve my husband because he deserves it. He is a man. He's a provider. He's an excellent father. He's an excellent husband. Like, he deserves it, so I do it. And that's how you have to kind of, like, look at life in general. Like, why do you keep trying to get people in your life, or keep trying to wait for people to accept you when they are not even happy with themselves? Like, have you ever heard, like, let me explain to you guys what karma is. You'll reap what you sow, okay? If you're doing something to somebody and you know that it's causing them pain, or you know that it's causing them hurt or anything, that's exactly what you're going to sow in your life, pain and misery. When you're doing kind things for people, you know, start with yourself. Start loving yourself, and then start loving everybody else, and start doing for people. And when you start meeting the needs of people around you, and you start putting people before yourself, not because you think less of yourself, but you think so highly of the word love that you just want to continuously give it, and you just want to love everybody, that's true freedom. That's life. Life is about love and experiences, not about hating on people and talking about people behind their backs. Remember, you know, your opinion of me does not define me. It defines you, okay? I'm not worried about what's going on in other people's lives. Like I am concerned about some people just because of their circumstances, but, like, it's not my business to say, so I'm just going to move on from that. But it's like, when it all comes down to it, focus on the people that care about you. Don't worry about people that are so toxic, and don't worry about people that are so angry, and don't worry about people that just make everybody misery. Don't fall into that. Don't fall into that. Rise above it. You know what? It's not acting better. It's knowing better. It's being better than the situation. Like me, I choose not to belittle people. I choose not to make fun of people's imperfections. That's something that I've done my whole life. I do not make fun of the way people look. I just don't. It's how I was raised. You know, so I just don't do that. I try to look at people for who they are, not for their circumstances that they're in right now, you know. When it all comes down to it, be responsible for yourself. If you start treating people with kindness, and you start planting seeds of kindness and love and everything, that's what you're going to get back. And, like, there's no point of being so negative and holding grudges. Like, who holds a grudge? Who does that? Somebody who can't forgive? That's weak. You know, weak people don't know how to forgive. It even says it, every book that you read about forgiveness. Weak people cannot forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong. Okay? Yeah, and I'm saying like this because I'm a very strong woman. And trust me, I haven't always been strong. You know, I've been through some crap. So don't take my advice because I'm always right. Take my advice because I have more experience in being wrong, you know. But, you know, when it all comes down to it, forgive people. Forgive people. It doesn't matter. Forgive people, because if you don't forgive people, they will control your life. And you got to just thank God for the people that you do have in your life. Thank God for the people that He has taken out of your life. Remember, not everybody's supposed to be in your life. There's people that are supposed to stay in your life, and people are only in your life to teach you a lesson. What that lesson may be, I don't know. You know, that's for something that you got to learn. But don't be afraid to let your guard down in love. Don't be afraid to forgive somebody and you say, you know what? I love you so much that I forgive you. You know, Now, there are some extremes. I'm not talking about extremes like prisons. I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm just talking about arguments or, misunderstandings or, let's say you did something in your life and you got mad at a friend for telling on you. Really, you only have yourself to blame. It's your actions. You did it. You have yourself to blame. If you didn't want to get caught, you shouldn't have done it. People need to start taking responsibility for themselves and quit blaming their lives on everybody. Quit blaming your circumstances on everybody. You don't like your circumstances, change it. Be your own person. Be a woman, be a man. Like, get it together. Get it together. Let's start going forward. Your past is your past for a reason. It's there for you to look back and learn from your mistakes, not for you to continue to keep living in the past. You got to let it go. I'm a visual person. I'm the type of person, I learned this from one of my girlfriends. I write everything down that I'm going through. I hold it up. I burn it. I don't burn nothing else. I burn it outside over my ashtray, you know what I'm saying? I just burn it, and I watch it burn. That part of me is buried. It's put to rest. Don't bring it up again. And if people around you want to continuously bring up stuff, don't let them bring it up. Worry about what goes in your ears. Quit poisoning yourself with what everybody else is doing. Quit poisoning yourself with stuff that people, that you think are cool, like, oh, well, people thought Jeffrey Dahmer were cool, and look where that got them. You are who you hang out with. Look at your friends. Who your friends are, that's who you are. Show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. You gotta make sure, don't get me wrong, you can have friends and then you can have acquaintances. That's two different. Who you decide to let in your home and in your personal life and who you call and who you go to for advice or whatever, decide. Please make sure you know who you're going to for advice, okay? You just can't pick any random to go to for advice. You cannot go to advice for a relationship to somebody that's single. Who does that? This person's single because they don't even know relationship advice, okay? You want some good, solid marriage advice? Go to somebody who's been married for 20 years. You want some career advice? Go to somebody who's had a career for 20 years. And quit messing around with your friends. Quit messing around. And then, are these the same friends that are going out to Brandon Iron? They're 40 years old, 30 years old, going to Brandon Iron on Wednesday night still? Really? Really? People need to start evaluating their friends. And I'm not saying turn your back on your friends, but you got to start sowing some good seeds in your life if you want to reap some good harvest. Like, people got to get together. But in all that, I'm just going to end everything with saying that I love you guys, and thank you so much for watching my show, and I'm totally losing my voice, but have a good night. Mwah.